Hey guys, it's Daniel from Daddy Daughter Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of AI Storytime. This is episode 7. So we're going to give it some text here that I've written down. Here's what I wrote. Some say that Melissa joined the Space Marines to escape her ex-husband on Full Core Prime. Others claim that she simply had a hunger for adventure, but the true story is much more compelling than that. Let's see what the AI gives us. Some say that Melissa joined the Space Marines to escape her ex-husband on Full Core Prime. Others claim that she simply had a hunger for adventure, but the true story was much more compelling than that. The other reason behind this is, according to a report, the report claims that Melissa chose the adventure after being detained by President Obama. Okay. Oh, this is taking an interesting turn. Okay. Let's try that again. The report claims that Melissa chose the adventure after being detained by President Obama and an asylum seeker for a very long time. The report claims to say that she was held in a military prison for 27 days in 2007. For that time being, the detention also led Melissa to being held by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. What? The report also reports that Melissa was held hostage by the Fray Festival for 10 days in January 2008. According to the report, another refugee was released as a result of the interrogation on Melissa's behalf, which was, quote, included in the government report, unquote, by the Department of Homeland Security. This is bizarre. This is just really weird. I came up with, a space story, and it's giving me politics. This is strange. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. The report states that the only evidence against Melissa is her participation in a plot against her ex-husband. A number of evidence is presented to the government that was presented in such a way that there is a link with Melissa, but the majority of supporting evidence is provided by a number of third-party persons, including the United States government itself, that may be connected to this plot. Heating the air, the report also states that while Melissa had no criminal record as a foreign citizen, quote unquote, the deportation authority is still in violation, quote, that is, without her passport and therefore a permanent residence permit, unquote. Moreover, in the first instance in which the FBI is holding her, she was removed from immigration court, as reported in Washington, D.C. The agency in charge of immigration, the Deportation of Homeland Security, and a number of other immigration agencies holding Melissa in its custody. The agency responsible for enforcing immigration laws regarding the detention of U.S.-born minors, immigrants to the U.S., 2 of whom are currently detained in their home country, and persons under the supervision of the Department of Homeland Security, 3 of whom are located under the supervision of DHS. She has been held under an undocumented person, U.S.-born category of immigration and ICE detainers in the United States. The person is detained by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and is currently in the United States. Okay, so this AI is telling me that this person is born in the United States, but I'm not sure what this is saying. This makes my brain hurt. Let's just keep reading. The report also states that the 2 U.S.-born persons, Melissa and her family, were inappropriately detained as authorities failed to notify them of the pending apprehension. The indication to a child connection, unquote. What makes this claim even more outlandish is that Melissa was given access to a indication to child connection document issued by ICE, which states that when she was detained in the United States, she was told about a child connection to a third party. The document also states that while detained, Melissa's unconventional methods of communicating and encouraging a friend, family member, or associate about the child connection to any of the third party were not tolerated at the detention facility in accordance with ICE's existing national standards of conduct. What? A document dated December 19, 2008 states that Melissa was detained by ICE while her family lived with the ICE family on June 27, 2007. A judge ruled that the family's custody was, quote, not a permanent family connection, unquote. The family's name was redacted, but the agency later stated that Melissa was placed into custody immediately after the incident occurred and was released in due course of the matter, as reported in the Washington, D.C. Post. It is unclear to what extent the agency stated that a child was, quote, detained there, unquote, after the detainment because police believed they were unaware of her family's location. As detailed in multiple papers from the ACLU, ICE was previously known to investigate agencies' incidents where children were detained in the United States, where there was no child support but could be arrested and then detained without charge, also reported by the Washington Post. The Department of Homeland Security said in 2007 that the agency's internal audit for the agency's Office of Refugee Resettlement, OCR, dated April 2007, stated that the agency staff failed to adequately look for, quote, an illicit or illegal entry to the home country, including the child, unquote, according to an Inspector General audit of the agency. Officials also said investigators did not find evidence for an improper entry. Under the standards established at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence under President Obama, such investigations are supposed to be able to review whether an entry is valid or unsafe. The rule was adopted as part of the process that led the government's exclusion of one child in its custody, but the government's Office of Refugee Resettlement itself never considered that. The family's lawyer alleges that, quote, this family was not consulted at all about their asylum claim and declined to assist them in their pending case due to the Department of Homeland Security's internal audit, unquote. It's also clear that the agency is violating the rules by making the use of child in the detention of people, but if that doesn't qualify as an appropriate case, it is even more outlandish. The Post report indicates that a number was also presented to. Okay, so this AI seems to have some sort of like technical bias where it likes to create political news stories out of anything that you happen to give it. But the original text that I had put in was that some say that Melissa joined the Space Marines to escape her ex-husband on Full Core Prime. Others claim that she simply had a hunger for adventure. But the true story is much more compelling than that. That's what I wrote, and then this gibberish right here, all this crazy stuff, is what the AI spat out. Yeah, well, guys, if you enjoyed this episode of AI Storytime, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.